Now would you please help me enthusiastically welcome Jill.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is my first time at this meeting. This is a great meeting. It's huge. I really like it. Everybody doing okay? Okay. Woo. Okay, so, I was instantly nervous when Mike invited me to speak to the group tonight, but he said something that put me at ease right away. He advised me to ignore the old timers because they've heard it all. Speak to the newcomers and let them know this program works. So I think there's probably a lot of newcomers here, people who are in recovery who are taking that first step, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to be talking to all the newcomers out there, and those of you who are just sitting on your hands, white knuckling it, and especially the young people just coming into the program. There's a lot of young people in this room and at a lot of meetings, and I am so excited about you because you've got so much life and you've got so much exciting memories to make. And when you come into the program late like I did, there's a lot of years I don't even remember. But anyway, I'm here to tell you AA does work. I love Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob. They had the incredible wherewithal to create a program of recovery that helped millions of people around the world since 1935. And that is 87 years, folks, and it still works. And people are still coming back, and they're still staying sober, and they're still going strong. Their vision as a result of their incomprehensible demoralization has saved marriages, jobs, restored relationships, prevented serious medical issues, and even death. It works, folks. It does. And how does it work? Everybody know. One day at a time. Absolutely. Now, I'll probably use a lot of AA cliches and there are cliches because they are right on. They are true. They happen. It's a simple program. It's not easy, but it's simple. Life can be good, even wonderful. You can be totally free of the mental obsession, and I'm here to share with you how it worked for me. You may wonder, like I did sometimes, about why do all these people with so much time keep coming back to meetings? It's for you, the newcomers. It's all about you. You're the reason we're here, to share with you our experience, strength, and hope. Of course, to encourage each other to stay sober and keep coming back, but you are the guests of honor. You really are. And I hope that you feel welcome if this is, if you're brand new to the program and you want to keep coming back. I hope every time you walk in these rooms, you feel welcome and you feel loved, because that's what it's all about. We're all literally family of sort. We really are, and it feels good. So anyway, I'm envious of the young people. I didn't get here until I was 45, and that's a lot of lost years, a lot of lost memories, and a lot of lost brain cells. So you can have an opportunity to have those years restored, and you can start today. So keep coming back. It can be your ticket to freedom, and as you know, you have to be willing. You have to take that first step. In the big book, it talks about the gift of desperation. I love that phrase. It is indeed a gift. That's when we hit our bottom and finally walk into the rooms. I truly just became sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's the gift of desperation. I started my drinking career, like many others, in junior high, sneaking wine from the refrigerator, from then high school, having friends buy bottles at the local liquor store. Boone's Farm apple wine was my drink of choice. I know, it was many years ago, but that was really good. Screw off top, and nothing too serious. We'd go out with friends on the weekends, maybe in the park. At parties, we could usually find liquor that somebody had brought, or steal from the liquor cabinet of our friends' parents. Now that was the good stuff, usually. I continued during college. Again, nothing too crazy. And then after graduation, I was kicked out of the house. I was 21 when my mom was given an ultimatum by her boyfriend. He told her, either she goes or I'm leaving. Well, that was okay. I didn't like the guy anyway. and but it was certainly time for me to get out. It was bad news at the time, but in between my screaming, I remember suddenly thinking, wait, oh good, now I can drink anytime I want. So that was like freedom for me. I got an apartment and it took off from there. Then on a dare from my sister, I applied for a job and got hired as a bunny with the Playboy Clubs International to open the new Detroit Playboy Club. And by the way, if you don't know, a bunny is just a glorified waitress. That's all it is, with a tail. Okay, but oh, what a fun job it was. It was a great job. But how could it not be when the whole mission of the company was built around sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Well, and copious amounts of alcohol, for sure. It had lots of benefits, like open bar private parties and celebrity events. Now, things got serious in my drinking. I was now on my own. I call it free white and 21, and the world was my oyster. Man, life was good. Not drinking every day, but when I did, I drank a lot. I remember driving home from a boyfriend's house one night, over 20 miles, and waking up the next day wondering how I got home and where was my car. And then there was those horrible moments when you wake up and look over and go, good God, who are you? You know? Yeah. Serious. Praying that you can find your keys and your clothes. Okay, so there it is. Such humiliation and self-loathing. It was horrible. And that's when I realized I was a blackout drinker. After a few years, I was chosen with 5 other gals to train bunnies at the club at Tokyo, Japan. So now I'm out of the country and off the rails, drinking alcoholically and nobody to condemn my behavior. Talk about a mess. I'm not sure how I always seem to make it to work. We were there for 4 months and then my job was finished. Now it's 1972, I'm back in the country. The Detroit club closed, and after a few years working at Ford Motor Company, I got bored with the job working in human resources. So I contacted the head bunny mother in Chicago and said, give me a job, please. I'll transfer anywhere and I'll do anything. I'll even wash dishes. I just wanted back with the company because it was a lot of fun. Long story short, within a few months, I packed up my life and moved to Arizona, and I'm now working at the Phoenix Playboy Club on Central Avenue as the bunny mother / day manager. So now I'm in management, and I've got the keys to the liquor cabinet. Jeez, it was a dream job. I often volunteered as bartender for private parties to give the bartenders the night off. I thought I was doing such a cool thing, but you know, it's all about me. It was one of those nights when I got my one and only DUI. It was after a staff Christmas party. On my drive home, I was stopped by a female police officer, and when she found out where I was coming from, she just smiled. She couldn't wait to take me in and book me. The good news, bad news is that I knew an attorney who was a regular at the club, and he got me off with a slap on the hand and probation. I think it may have at least slowed me down a bit had I been tossed in jail for a bit, but things were different then, sadly. The Phoenix Club closed in 1983, and things slowed down a bit for years. Then I met my husband through mutual friends, and after 4 months, we got married. He then became my drinking partner, where our life evolved into every weekend, every holiday, every birthday, every anniversary, every vacation. They were big drinking days. For years, things were good and fairly controlled until they weren't. Pretty soon, Tuesday became a holiday. And the slippery slope downhill began. We started the daily thing. I remember the only fights we ever had was over that last glass of wine in the bottle. I could not drink every day. If I ran out of something for dinner, I'd make an excuse to go to the store and just happen to pick up another bottle of wine or 2. I had done the "Are you an alcoholic?" test, and they constantly pointed to, "Oh yes, absolutely, you are." But I was in denial, not wanting to be an alcoholic, just ignoring my gut feelings and all those test results. I actually went to a counselor once and I said, I think I'm an alcoholic. I need to have 2 glasses of wine every night, at least 2 glasses. And he said, funny, so do I. There's nothing wrong with you. Yeah, really. So I was off and running again. Life was just rolling along. Heck, I was even running marathons in my 30s while in my addiction. I was certainly a functioning alcoholic, but an alcoholic nonetheless. Costco brings back bad memories. We started buying cases because it was a wonderful wine at a very good price. What can I say? After a while, we'd feel the need to go to the different cashier lines because one time I was in line, I bought a case and the cashier said, so, you having a party? No, it was all for me. But how do you tell them? So of course you're lying, oh yeah, I'm having a party and lots of people are coming. Well, that wasn't the case. I was stunned and embarrassed. I just knew, they all knew I was an alcoholic. So from then on, every trip to Costco, we'd pick up a different line with a different cashier, which made me sick because I was totally aware of the bizarre behavior, but again, chose to ignore it. I had my grandkids over often for movie and pizza sleepover, and one day they finally asked me, Grandma, why do you keep getting up and going into the pantry? They didn't know my open bottle of wine was tucked inside. It was sad. The lying, the hiding of the bottles, the deception, the feeling sick physically, emotionally, spiritually, year after year. I was a mess, and I saw no way out. You talk about incomprehensible demoralization. I couldn't imagine life without alcohol because I couldn't imagine life being fun anymore. I had been a Christian for years at this point, and I had often prayed for relief from this bondage. But I think God knew that I wasn't done yet. I was praying often to the porcelain God, and not with any sincerity. He knew. I kept my faith and my drinking compartmentalized, hoping that he wasn't watching the disaster that I had become. I was now working for the pastor at my church as his assistant. Maybe going to work for him felt subconsciously like it might be the answer to my problem, but it wasn't the answer. Then, one fateful weekend, we went to Flagstaff for a church Valentine's Day event, a dinner dance, speaker, a reason to dress up. We brought what now seems like a suitcase of wine for a small 36-hour event. We drank before, during, and after each event. The whole time, I was constantly paranoid, knowing that everybody in my church knew I was a raging alcoholic. Even though nothing extreme or embarrassing happened, it was all in my mind. Which we do that. But oh, the humiliation that night and the emotional turmoil. I had become finally sick and tired of being sick and tired. I felt that God finally got me by the throat and said, you are wasting your life. You can be so much more. I felt like I heard it. It was almost like a burning bush experience. When I got home, I got on my knees and finally prayed to God with everything I had to remove the obsession. Now you'll think this is really sick, but even after that prayer, I went to the store, I bought 4 more bottles of wine, and with the intention that this is finally it. One last hurrah. I drank until I passed out. And for some beautiful and miraculous reason, the next morning, the light bulb finally turned on. God had finally answered my prayer. I finally surrendered to my powerlessness. I decided the next day to attend an AA meeting to see how it felt, because by this time, I knew that's where I belonged. My first AA meeting was scary, but it also felt like everyone's share had a little bit of me in it. They were incredibly welcoming and friendly. They made me feel like I had found my people. They gave me a big book and a 12 and 12, and I walked away with a glimmer of hope. As I started reading, I saw myself on every page, which gave me absolute confirmation that I was in the right place. The first few years, I white-knuckled it through meetings. I didn't get a sponsor, didn't do the steps, which, looking back, was such a bad decision, but at the time, I didn't want to take too much time from my family and my job, which was still working for the church. Maybe I didn't think I was worth it. I'm not sure. And I really wasn't out of the closet yet, so to speak, but just happy to be sober. Then we moved to Prescott. I found out where some good meetings were and went to a few. I met some really great people, some of whom I still see today, and some I don't. I got a sponsor and I did the steps. Some of you may know Bob and Anita P. It was Anita who is no longer with us, and Bob who also died recently too. Then for some reason I can't recall, I took a break from meetings for a few years. I was now again working for the church up here, and life seemed to be fairly good. I thought I was happy, but I still felt like I was missing something. I had no real peace. I couldn't walk down the wine aisle at Safeway. It gave me the willies. We'd go out for anniversaries or birthdays, and I'd see everyone around me drinking, and my go-to fix was simply to excuse myself and call another alcoholic that I had on my contact list, and that seemed to work. I felt relief for the moment. I used to hear, and I'm still hearing today, that those who relapse usually do because they become complacent and stop going to meetings. But I ignored that for a while and just sat on my hands. Then Heights Church then began a wonderful recovery ministry called Elements, a faith-based AA meeting. After finding out I was in recovery, the associate pastor asked me to be a part of it, starting a Bible study for women in recovery. And maybe it was another one of God's 2x4s, because then I felt a strong desire to dive back in with both feet, jump back in the middle of the herd, as they say. By this time, I had a few years and under my belt, and I felt what would be a win-win situation is to help others. I had heard that, and it works, to share the experience, strength, and hope that AA affords everyone. So I came screaming out of the closet and shared everywhere I could about the joys of sobriety, finding other gals who struggled and invited them to come and join along. About 5 other ladies and myself led Bible studies, and even though it was a Bible study, I would encourage the gals to find a higher power that worked for them. It's important that you do that. I knew that that would be the only way that this would work. I knew what worked for me, and that my God is at my side every moment of this journey called life. He helps me make decisions every day and can calm me down when I'm stressed as long as I stay in close contact with him. I found instantly that service work, helping another alcoholic, helps keep me sober. I don't want to find out if I have another recovery in me. I like my life now. I'm as healthy as I've ever been. I'm now doing a number of AA meetings every week, and I feel at home at every one. I love all meetings. I hear something at every meeting I can take away and use. Tools for my tool belt, they say. Things to help me deal with life on life's terms. The wisdom in these rooms is invaluable. I also facilitate a meeting on Thursdays at noon, and I think when everyone shows up, there are over 1,000 years of sobriety. No kidding, I counted it up one time. Think about that. It's incredible, 1,000 years. We just keep coming back, and it's for you, the newcomers, truly. I enjoy sponsoring. I've sponsored 18 ladies in the last 6 years. Some have continued on the path of sobriety, some have not. I used to take it personal, now I don't. I did my best, and I figure they'll get here when they're ready. I currently sponsor 3 gals, one lovely lady in the front row here. Thank you for coming. And hopefully they'll get to that beautiful place of surrender and become happy, joyous, and free. My desire is to simply pay it forward and give them a chance at healthy living and a better life. One thing I share with the gals I sponsor is that I cannot say, even to today, I'll never have another drink. It's too painful, but I can say I won't have one today, and it's always today. It just makes it more palatable. So I've had cancer 4 times. I've lost my whole family, both my parents, sister, brother. I lost a friend to suicide, and I've even lost a sweet little sponsee to this disease. I've even gotten fired from a job, but I've dealt with all of these life events sober. And you can too. Just be willing to take that first step, which by being here, you already have. Trust me, there's nothing that can happen that a drink will make better. But don't white knuckle the program like I did. Dive in with both feet. Get to a ton of meetings, find a higher power that works for you, meet some new lifelong friends, and that usually means get rid of the old ones. There's incredible camaraderie in these rooms. Then get a sponsor and do the steps. Once you get a little time, start to reach out your hand, do the service work, and help others. That's my ticket to continuing sobriety. I heard in these rooms one time that something that really resonated with me. A wise man, who's in this room right now, once said that his drinking used to be magical for him, but now his recovery is his magic. I firmly believe that, and you can too if you just choose to believe that AA works and become willing to take that first step into the light with the help of your higher power. As you submerge yourself into AA and the steps, if you don't have a higher power, you will find one. I read this in a devotional yesterday, and I think it was God's timing for me that I might read it to you. I hope you don't mind. So now I ask you to think of your higher power, whatever or whoever that is, and imagine him or her sharing this little love note with you. Seek me with your whole being. I desire to be found by you, and I orchestrate the events of your life with that purpose in mind. When things go well and you are blessed, you can feel me smiling on you. When you encounter rough patches along your life journey, trust that my light is still shining upon you. My reasons for allowing these adversities may be shrouded in mystery, but my continual presence with you is an absolute promise. Seek me in good times, seek me in bad times. You will find me watching over you at all times. Wow, how comforting is that? So establish and nurture that relationship with your higher power and get ready for the ride of your life. Happy, joyous, and free. That's the ultimate goal. My new addiction is Hostess mini donuts. Seriously. After every morning workout, I put on the coffee pot and get out my little bag of mini donuts and have 2, maybe 3, every day. Every day. Or if I'm driving by Bosa, there is that. Yep. I'm going to have to work on that next. So in closing, my last day of drinking was February 16, 1999. Since then, my life has never been so good, and I've never had so much fun, seriously, because now I remember it all. My husband is a normie, and he's incredibly supportive of my program, service work, and sponsoring. You can have a great life too. Just make a decision to be willing to do that first step and do the work. Today, I don't have to go to meetings. Today, I love to go to meetings. I repeat once again, it's a simple program. Not easy, but simple. Just make the decision and keep coming back. Thank you. God bless you all. At least I didn't
Okay, let's give our speaker another big hand.